Hey, I'm Jake Taylor from In Heart's Wake, and you're watching SoundlinkTV.
Alright everybody, this is Trent with SoundlinkTV, this time with Jake from In Heart's Wake. How you doing, man?
I'm very well. Good
awesome.
to be here. Warm weather.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I thought this would be cold for you guys or something.
No, dude, we've just been in Montreal. It's way warmer here.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Yeah, I noticed you were up there looking at the TV and stuff. You guys football fans or anything? American football fans?
Not really. Our driver is. So he put on the football before.
Oh, okay.
But I know all the rules. I follow it, but I don't keep up to date with who's winning and stuff.
Oh, I got you. All right, so you guys are on this tour of the Phineas, like Muscle Flames and Fit for a King and everything. You know, you guys have been doing this for a while and stuff. You know, what's it like? You know, I guess doing your first. Is this your first co-headliner? And if so, like, you know, what is that like and everything?
It's our first co-headliner over here. We've done a co-headline back home once before, but never in America. So, call it our first headline over here at all. Yeah. So it's really cool. We've gone from, supporting opening for Parkway Drive, playing with August Spence Red. We've done Warped Tour, a lot of really credible tours and a lot of good opportunities, but now to just see, you know, what we have built from those opportunities to do this with Fit for a King is really special.
Yeah, it's like kind of mind-blowing going out there every night seeing kids, like all these American kids, you know, singing your words and stuff when you guys are, you know, from like thousands of miles away, basically.
That's it. It's awesome.
All right. So you guys put out a record this year called Arc and everything. How's that been treating you and everything? Obviously, he's gotten you guys on this headlining tour and stuff, but has it done necessarily what you guys want to do? Because it's kind of, you guys grew a little bit, you know, kind of did some different things and everything. So talk about that a little bit.
We've done all kinds of things. We've released 4 records in the last 5 years, and an EP as well. So we've been very busy.
Yeah.
And I think look, we're headlining over here, so I think it's done everything we could want and more. We always want to push ourselves and do better every time, and also build all the skills that we've learnt along the way. And Arc's a piece of work that embodies all the tricks we've learnt and all the things that we know that work well. And we wanted to release like a solid metalcore record with some rock parts that we're really proud of, and we are very proud of it.
Yeah, with a lot of the bands, you know, like Moths, you know, dropped a new record too. They kind of went on the softer side. You know, a lot of these heavier bands are kind of like trying new things like that. Do you see yourselves, you know, going for more of a rock side type of thing in the future, or are you guys trying to just expand on what you guys did with this album?
I think you'll see us definitely progress. I wouldn't say we're getting it softer. Okay. I wouldn't say we're going to go deathcore either, though, man. I just like to think there's bigger songs with bigger parts, whether it's sing-along or breakdowns. I just want it to be always more epic. Okay. Yeah.
So where do you want that to take you guys? You know, you're doing a headliner here, and obviously you want to play bigger venues, headline and stuff like that. So, like, when you see this band maybe in the next 5 years or so, you just talked about you guys released like 5 records in 5 years and stuff. So, like, I guess in 5 more years, where do you see this band, or where do you want it to be?
I think we're gonna pull back a bit now and like take our time with what we release, just because we can. We've built up such an incredible fan base in the last 5 years, and we want to make sure the next 5 years we really treat them with even more care and even more precision and focus, so that we're also looking after ourselves and we're growing as well, so the band can grow. Okay. Yeah.
You mentioned playing Warped Tour and stuff, and I'm sure you know, as well as these people watching this, that it was announced that like this coming year is going to be the last full run, and you guys have done it in the past and stuff. What did that experience mean for you guys, being a band, you know, who's probably grew up watching it, you know, from your homes in Australia and stuff, you know, seeing it, you know, and getting to experience that and everything? What did that moment mean for you guys?
It feels like you're part of history, is the best way to put it. All the bands we grew up with, that was their rite of passage. And you never really, you can see photos from Warped Tour and some footage, but you never really understand what it is to be a part of it on the other side of the fence until you do it. And, it's really an incredible opportunity that we had. And, you know, there's a lot of hardships about Warped Tour which people don't know. Not to say that's a bad thing, but it makes performing on the stages that much better when you've been waiting in line for hours for food, and it's like sweltering hot sun, and then there's a flash storm, and it floods. And all these crazy, unpredictable things that happen on Warped Tour, which you just never know because the weather's so extreme and the conditions are so extreme. And that makes the shows that much better and more rewarding, meeting and making new fans.
Yeah. Do you see anything like probably taking its place? Like, you know, I know you guys over there in Australia, you guys have some pretty big festivals and stuff and all that. And so do you see anything, where do you see, where do you want to I guess this music scene to be, with when that disappears and stuff, like what do you envision or what do you hope for these younger bands, maybe you guys, being the, one of the main stages, at that point and stuff. Where do you see this whole like music scene going in terms of like festivals and concerts with everything being, I guess, more scaled back and stuff?
I think Warped Tour, like, people have been taking it for granted for the last few years. That's clearly why it's coming to an end next year. The numbers haven't been as good, and that's not because the bands haven't been as good. There's some quality acts on there, but people have just not over-warped, but they're ready for something new, so they were sort of scaling back. You can just see things just need to be refreshed. So it's kind of good that this is the last year of Warped. Everyone will be like, wow, like, let's go this year. It's the last one, and it's better that than it fizzling out. This is going to be like out of the bang. And something will always come in its place, just not immediately. The music scene always finds a way. What the people with what the people want and what the bands produce, there will always be that space and that void for something new to come through. So you'll see some differences and some changes, but it's a nice wake up call, I think, for the heavy music scene to find new ways to evolve. Okay,
I did want to talk a little bit about with the music scene and stuff, especially where you guys come from, because I've heard some different stories about how the radio is there and everything, and I've heard some heavy bands talk about, some of their songs being on the radio, because from what they were saying there, it's all together versus top 40 rock, all that kind of thing. So has your music been played on the radio there, and is it weird hearing that, if so?
It's played on the radio, but not mainstream radio. Okay. Mainstream radio, I don't know what your stations are over here, but like back home they like Triple M and Triple ZFM and all. These are all like the radio stations that people, when they're working on construction sites or in cafes or hairdressers, that's the ones they listen to, and there's none of our music played on those. The station that plays our music is an alternative station called Triple J, who are very good at I guess giving you alternative music and what's cool and what's hip, and not necessarily the biggest artist, but what's cool and what's new. So that's where we get played, and it's awesome to hear yourself on the radio, and it's never expected.
Yeah, so with that scene over there, obviously Parkway Drive's the big band, I guess, who sort of, paved the way, if you will, for, bands from your country to come over here. The Artist Murder's doing that too, and so Amity Affliction's coming up, and you have all these other bands like For All Eternity who's getting ready to drop some stuff too. So what is it about Australia, I guess, that's catching on over here finally that you guys have had? Because it seems like you guys have your own, you guys play metalcore, but it's not the same as if you would go to like a local show here and hear like 5 metalcore bands. So what's the scene like over there, and what is, I guess, the style or influences from in the Australian scene that people may not be getting over here?
Well, you're comparing local bands to the bands over our way that have made it to your airwaves, meaning there's the cream of the crop. Yeah. Whereas if we compare our local bands to your local bands, you'll find there's a lot of similarities there. You guys have got some big bands too that make it over our way. You think of all it, do you know what I mean? You've got massive bands.
I guess the local band was a bad analogy, but just the run-of-the-mill metalcore band that's signed to a record label, put them up against a band from Australia. There's different nuances in the music and stuff. So
I don't hear those nuances like you do.
Really?
No, I don't. I don't hear the nuances. I think a lot of the Australian bands are often mimicking a lot of the American bands. That's because they're working with American producers, and there's a lot of those tricks. So all that you're hearing from our country is cool and great stuff, but it has it's a survival of the fittest where we're from, because we're such a big country, small population in the middle of nowhere. So for it to make it over here and for bands to travel over here, it costs tens of thousands of dollars. So if you want to be that band and you want to tour the world, you have to work extra hard, and none of us take that for granted, So that's a good way of, I guess, the really strong bands that really want to make a difference with their music, they make it over here. So that's something that's special and that's different. Whereas in America, you're spoilt for shows. You guys can go around the country like 3 times a year and not play the same place twice. Whereas we have 5 cities and you guys got 50. So that's a big thing. But I think also, Americans, there's a novelty about Australia. They've always had a fascination with Australia, that it is this like place where all these things can kill you, but it's beautiful and it's so far away, and so there's that as well. But I'd like to think that we work extra hard, and we really take a lot of pride in our music, and also the messages within our music are a little different than yours because of the world that we're in.
Okay, talk about that a little bit. What kind of this world versus your world and stuff, what kind of stuff do you throw in your music that bands here may not? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, when it comes to wake up calls, whether it's socially or environmentally, I feel that I can speak for myself. I don't want to speak for all the Australian bands, but we come from a beautiful place. You know, we're privileged and very lucky, and I don't want to take that for granted. And when we come to America, your beautiful places are in national parks, and they're there. But it's also clouded a lot by all the cities and a lot of, you've got huge healthcare problems, and you've got massive problems with jobs, and there's so many people, and there's not enough food. There's a lot of issues going on for the lower class particularly. And our country, give it that it's big and it has a lot more resources, we have more space, so that isn't as apparent. But coming to these cities as an Australian, seeing them coming back, it's sort of opened my eyes a little bit more to being like, wow, if we can just find ways to work with the earth a little more, how much it helps the human being be healthier, look after oneself. And it's not all about money. It's really not. You can live simply and well. So less is more scenario. So that's where the messages and stuff come in, from this perspective that Australians get from traveling the world.
Okay, so I guess starting off there before you see the world versus writing after the world, and how has that influenced your writing throughout your records? You said 5 records in 5 years. So within those 5 years, you guys have seen a lot of stuff and influenced your writing in a way. So, at what point do you guys start seeing that stuff across the world and start taking it in? Like, this is different. We got to talk about this.
Well, we saw it at the first record when we came over here.
Okay.
Yeah, some of my guys had never been to America. They'd never seen so many homeless people. And I've been multiple times as an American citizen and as a traveler in my kid years and as a teenager. But yeah, there's just lots. I don't know what to say. It's a natural growth. As a human being, you start to watch the news more. You start to wake up a little bit more, and not, it's not all a fairy tale that you believe when you're watching Disney movies as a kid. There's a bigger world out there. So rather than getting down about it, it's how do I be constructive about this, and how do I make it worth our sacrifice and time that all that we put into this to make a little bit of a positive impact and to enjoy it.
All right, man. So holidays coming up. What do you guys have going on? Any last minute shows at the end of the year, or are you guys just gonna take a break and hit 2018 strong?
No, man. The last show's on the 17th of December here, so we get home. We travel into the future. We'll get back on the night of the 19th, and so it takes like 2 days of travel, and that's pretty much Christmas. So I'm gonna get straight to the beach. We'll probably be surfing, try and go camping, just get out there as soon as possible, and just sort of shed the skin that is the city and the cars and all this world, and just have a little bit of a I guess, what do you call it, like a debrief and just a refreshing time. And that'll be 2 weeks before we start up our Australian headline tour.
Awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of people forget, like, it's cold here on Christmas, but it's warm over there. You guys are like tank topping and surfing and all that. So
hot.
All right, man. Well, thanks for your time today, and looking forward to seeing you guys later today. All right, thanks for watching, everybody.
Darkness is only the space between the